Greetings, everybody. Me, Renato O'Tanner, once again. I was thinking about a lot of things, man. I'm always thinking about a lot of things, but there was one thing in particular that just really, it resonated me from the first time I heard it. And I thought about it a lot. And it's something I believe that scientists are calling genetic memory. And what I believe they actually mean is it's like we're living in 2023. However, the calendars were done, whether it was Gregorian, ancient Egyptian, ancient Sumerian, you know what I'm saying. But like right now, we live in a society where we have access to things that people that lived 300 years ago and back didn't. They didn't have toilet bowls. We didn't have refrigerators. We didn't have ovens. We didn't have washing machines and dryers. We didn't have paved roads. We didn't have vehicles that were powered through petroleum or some fossil fuels. And when you think about how life was from 300 years ago and back, it's like the air was much purer. Like right now, I live in New York City. Now, there's other major places, all the metropolitan areas where, because of congestion, in New York City, even on a clear night, you can only see maybe one to like five celestial bodies. Whereas if I drove or went 20 or 30 miles north, the sky would literally, on a clear night, the sky would literally look like the Hayden Planetarium. And it's really, it's awesome stuff to visualize these things. But where I'm actually going with this stuff is this. Within ourselves, there are people, sages, elders, learnt men, prophets, whatever you would choose to call them, who also, like I said, through something, they believe in something called genetic memory. In other words, even though I was not alive 1,000 years ago, there's still a part of the essence of my being and your being, all of us are beings that even though you weren't there, you can still somewhat be able to tell what it was like to be alive 1,000 years ago or even further. When the time was where the air was much purer, the water was much purer, the land was much more spacious because there wasn't a lot of buildings. There's much more grass, many more trees, all of these types of things. You could appreciate the things like the sounds of nature, whatever the life forms are that are there. You could hear it. And when you sit back and you think what life would have really been like for someone like us, like I said, we can go to a store. As long as you have some money, we can go to a store. We can purchase pretty much anything that we would want or need. But not even 1,000, from 300 years ago and back, to be alive was actually toil if you didn't have anything. It was not easy because you literally, truly had to work for everything. You had to work for a meal. If you were a vegetarian, you foraged. If you ate, you couldn't go to a butcher's shop. You had to literally find it, catch it, clean it, cook it, if you cooked it. But you get what I'm saying? This thing called genetic memory, because sometimes I've been going through a lot of phases, and one of these phases is like, people say, whether it's intuition, people believe in things like reincarnation, things like that. I don't really, I don't say I don't believe in it, okay? But truthfully, to be honest, to tell you that, yes, I've experienced, or yes, I remember my past life and things like that, I don't. I can make up something, and I think that's what a lot of people actually do. But I've never had that type of experience. Now, I will never say that it hasn't occurred. I will never say that because I don't know. I have had some experiences, and maybe one day I'll choose to relay them to you because I believe that others will have had some, and they are actually like what you would call supernatural or paranormal. But I'm not going to get into that right now because I don't really get into too big of a discussion with things that I cannot prove to another person. You know what I mean? But where I'm also, again, where I was going with this stuff is, like I said, it's like laying on my bed or sitting on a bench in a park or just anywhere, sitting somewhere eating. My mind goes through these phases where I have these thoughts, where I'm able to like put myself in someone else's shoes, or I'm also just visualizing. I'm saying, man, I really can envision what it would be like to have been alive 300 years ago and back, when there was no real running water except for a stream or a river, or there was no toilet bowls, there were no washing machines and dryers, as I said, paved roads, retail outlets. None of these things really existed. They had their versions of them, but they didn't exist the way they exist today. So, life is, you tend to have a little more appreciation, and yet still at the same time, some disdain. Because even though we have a lot of conveniences in our world right now, at the same time, these conveniences have also proven to be very detrimental in other ways. You know what I mean? Like, I'll give you an example. As much as I might say I wouldn't like it, like when we go to the bathroom, our urine and our fecal matter was not meant to go underground and stay there. It was meant to be on the soil, if there was so, like we have concrete, but on the soil where it goes through this natural process where like the sun will beat down or shine down upon it and dry it up. And then it will just decompose into something that the earth will actually utilize. That's why they say shit or fecal matter is actually used as fertilizer. There's a reason for it. But what I'm saying is, maybe you all can relate to this, man. I put myself in a position where I can envision what life would have been like in the days where the conveniences that I've grown accustomed to, we didn't have them. And I just wonder if some of you feel the same way. I hardly get any views when I do these videos, but that's okay. I'm still going to put them out there because there'll always be somebody that will be able to relate to what I'm saying, And my objective in life, if I can do it, I will always try and make things better rather than make them worse. Even in cases where for some people I hate, because there are people that I hate, there are people that have been unjust to me. But, the ultimate reality is I can't sit back and harbor anger. They say there's a quote that the Buddha, was his name, Siddhartha Gautama. One of the phrases that they say he said was, holding on to anger is like holding on to a hot coal with the intention of throwing it, but never doing so. In the process, you're the only one that gets hurt. And it's a sad reality, but a lot of us feel it, There are some of us who will react, impulsive and just react to things. That's another thing that, has always bothered me, how some people will entrap other people if they can do it. Slavery is almost as old as we are. The mindset isn't, because initially we didn't have that mindset, but as time went on, many of us acquired it. People like the idea of having someone subservient to them, that will cater to them. I'm not going to lie and say I wouldn't, but I wouldn't want it in a way where it's like forceful, where I'd have to beat someone or I'd have to, entrap them, because that's what it is. Entrapping a human being is no different than entrapping some wildlife. It's the same process. Deception's utilized. Deception's powerful. I think many of you know this already. It's really powerful. And it's caused a lot of problems. But, I don't know, man. What do you all think? What do you think about your existence? Because there are many times where, I'm not going to lie, man, there were times where I actually truly wished that I had never been born. I mean, I do like life, even though it's not as enjoyable for me. And there's plenty of people that are doing everything in their power to make sure that I could never be stable or have any type of real happiness. I have to just overlook these things and I have to do what I have to do to try and just make things better for myself, the same way you or anyone else would do. And it's sad that that's part of existence, but it is part of existence. And like, can't cry over it. Like they say, figurative phrase, you can't cry over spilled milk, especially when you look at it from the perspective of you can't cry over spilled milk when you're around nothing but a bunch of cows. All right, so the milk's spilled, but you can get some more. In other words, you know the deal. When things don't go the way you wanted them to go, don't give up. Just keep striving. Do what you have to do. Sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's hard, man. And I ain't gonna lie, bro. For me, it's been hard. I'm still not anywhere near where I want to be, but there's still always that chance. And if it doesn't happen, you know what? I have the ability, I have the internal strength to just be able to accept that, hey, it's not meant to be. And just live the best that I can while I'm still alive with whatever I have access to. This is something a lot of people won't do. A lot of people will resort to foul play to acquire their goals. It's not unusual, it's not new. I don't want to go that route. I haven't as of yet, and I hope that I never will change in that way. It's just not good. But anyway, you know me. You know what you're always going to get from me. Hey, do your deep breathing. Do your exercises. Spread love where you can. Try and find some love. Giving back to you where you can. And just enjoy existence. I wish the best for all of us. You know me. May we have great days. May we live long and prosper. Be well.